So now let's look at percent increase. So for example, what if we have a grocery store that adds a 30% markup to a wholesale price? Okay, so they buy it at a certain price, they're doing a 30% markup. So they're going to charge 30% over and above what they paid for this item. If the store sells a half-gallon container of orange juice for $2.99, what was the original wholesale price? So here the markup is 30%, which means the amount you're paying is 100% of their original wholesale price, plus an extra 30%, which was the markup, for a total of 130%. So here you would put the 130% as your rate, 130. Your amount here is the marked up price. So that's going to be bigger this time than our base. Our base is let's call that the original price. So then for this example, we could set up our equation and we would get base $2.99 over base equals 130 over 100. Okay, and then if we do the cross product, we're going to get 100 times $2.99 equals our base times 130. So we can divide both sides by 130. And that's what we have written down here. So when we calculate that out, we get $2.30. So the price, the original wholesale price, is $2.30. Let's try some more. So car sales at a dealership increased from 350 units one year to 378 the next. So we've had an increase. We want to know the rate of that increase. So our original base is 350. Our increase is 378. We now have 378. I guess there's two ways to do this actually. I'm going to do it this way. So then we get x over 100. We're looking for that rate. So we can set up our fractions. And then we're going to multiply each side by 100. And we get 100 times 378 over 350 equals x. So then let's use our calculator. And we get 108. So we have 108% then is what this is saying. So 378 is 108% of 350. So our increase then is 8%. So there was a 8% increase. The other way you could do this one is we could have first figured out the amount of the increase. So I would have gone So I would have gone 378 minus 350, and I would have found that's 28. And so I could have put that in my box for the amount. So I would have had that amount over 350 equals x over 100. Now we're figuring out what that amount of the increase, that 28 is, out of our 350. And if you do that, let's go ahead and do it this way too, just to prove to ourselves we'd get the same answer. So if we do that, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 100. So I get 28 times 100 over 350 equals x. And so I should get x of 8%. And I do. So here now we've just calculated the percentage increase alone, which is 8%. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Okay, so a school's enrollment increased by 8% from one year to the next. If the enrollment was 550 students the first year, how many students were enrolled the second year? So I'm going to do this in one step by saying that If the enrollment increased by 8%, that means my rate is 100% plus that 8%. So my rate is 108 over 100. And enrollment was 550 students the first year. So we're looking for 108% of 550, which would be our X. So now we can set up our proportions. And we're going to have to move this 550 up and across the equal sign. In other words, we're multiplying both sides by 550. And what does that give us? $594. So that means enrollment the second year has increased. And it is now 594. Okay, there's two more problems here. Why don't you pause this video and give these two a go? All right, let's look at these two problems together now. So C, we have enrollment at a school increased from 800 to 888 students. We want to know the rate of the increase. So we had 800 students originally. Now we have 888. And we want to figure out what percentage of 800 is 888. So we're going to have X as our rate and 100 down below. And so when we set up our fractions, we've got 888 over 800 equals X over 100. And then we can move that 100 to the other side of the equal sign and up. And we've got 888 times 100 divided by 800 equals X. And so let's calculate that out. And I get 111. So my X, my percentage is 111%, which means the rate of increase is 11% because we were at 100%. Now we're at 111%. So the rate that it's increased is 11%. Okay, next one. An electronics store sells an amplifier for a car stereo system for $250. The store paid $200 for the amplifier. So what is the markup rate? Okay, so we want to know, we're looking for a rate. So it's going to be X over 100. We want to know what the percent increase is if we started at 200 and now we're charging 250. So we're going to get a number greater than 100 because my amount is higher than my base. So let's set up our fractions. And then I'm going to move this 100 up and across the equal sign. In other words, I'm multiplying both sides of this equation by 100. And that gives me $125. So another way to say that would be 250 is 125% of 200. So what's our markup rate here then? Our markup rate here would be 25%. We're paying an extra 25%. We'll say the markup rate is 25%.